welcome to Monday's Mental Mistakes. This week we're looking at essentialism. Essentialism is the tendency to see outward properties as reflective of an underlying essence. That is, categorising things by their supposed essences. Essentialism makes us more likely to overemphasise the similarities within a group. At the same time, we're unlikely to see the similarities between different categories. Here's a simple example. Suppose that in my house you come across what looks like an ordinary teapot. You ask me about it and I explain that it is, in fact, a watering can that I use with my indoor plants. You were sceptical, so I further explained that although it was a teapot when I bought it, since I only use it to water my plants, it is indeed a watering can. Do you agree that it's a watering can that used to be a teapot? Or is it actually a teapot that is being used as a watering can? You then come into my lounge room and see my lampshade that looks just like an umbrella. You ask me if I've repurposed it, and I explain that this actually was created by an umbrella maker specifically as a lampshade. That is, although it is physically identical to the other umbrellas that the manufacturer made, this one was especially made to be my lampshade. Do you agree that this is a lampshade that happens to be identical to some umbrellas? Or is it actually an umbrella that is being used as a lampshade? If you feel that these objects were actually teapots and lampshades, then congratulations, you suffer from essentialism, like the rest of us. Essentialism holds that each object has an essential nature that determines what it is. In created objects, like teapots and lampshades, we generally hold that the essence is determined by the intent of the creator. That is, whether something is a teapot or not is generally determined by whether it was intended to be a teapot, rather than how it is used, or even its superficial features. If something looks just like an umbrella, is indistinguishable from an umbrella, and is even being used as an umbrella, if we find out that it was actually meant to be a lampshade, there is still a tendency to see it as an appropriated lampshade, rather than an umbrella. The principal way to counter essentialism is to take a contrary view, that many things are best categorised by their properties rather than their intent. The heart of essentialism is the reasonable process by which we abstract from surface properties to create categories. So we see four-legged, flat surfaces with backs as being chairs. The problem comes in inferring that members of the category chair have some essence of chairness. They don't. A good counter to essentialism is the saying that if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Or, as Forrest Gump says, stupid is as stupid does. While essentialism has been confirmed in a range of different cultures and languages, the English language is particularly essentialist. When we talk about people and objects, we tend to talk about what something or someone is, rather than what they do. So when someone behaves lazily, we tend to say that they are lazy, implying that it is a part of them, rather than something they do. Another form of this is when we say that someone is attractive, or an activity is boring. This is attributing our feelings to the other person or activity, as if it were part of their essence. A more accurate way of expressing this would be to say that I feel attracted to that person, or I feel bored by this activity. Distorted thinking of this kind plays a role in some mental disorders, particularly depression, with depressed people tending to see their poor decisions as reflective of who they are, rather than as something they do. The problem with such essentialism is that we tend to think of essences as immutable. So when we say that someone is a failure, we are suggesting that this is more permanent than saying that someone fails at things. Mental disorders with a strong cognitive component, like depression, the many anxiety disorders, and certain personality disorders, all tend to benefit from a reduction in essentialist thinking. Essentialism also plays a role in stereotyping and prejudice. Research has shown that the more prone to essentialism we are, the more we see race, gender, or sexuality as essential determinants of how people are. That is, essentialists tend to see a person's race as reflecting a part of their essence, which makes them prone to believing that people of one race will be more alike and significantly different from people of other races. The reality is that the variation within a race is greater than the variation between races. Similar findings apply to issues of gender and sexuality, with people who hold more essentialist views across the board tending to see men or women or gay or straight people as more unified and distinct groupings than they actually are. In conclusion, essentialism is the tendency to see outward properties as reflective of an underlying essence. Until next week, may your mental mistakes be minor.